All right, and welcome into the Betting Pros College Football Show. We are roughly 48 hours away from injecting college football back into our veins by way of the conference championships. Today, we make our official Week 15 picks and predictions. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, coming to you from the beautiful state of Pennsylvania that will be buzzing on Saturday night. I'm joined by a man who probably bought the entire bar around last night when he got news that Miami was on the outside looking in of the college football playoffs. Terrell Furman Jr., what's up, brother? Are you ready for conference championship weekend? And what was the drink you bought, everybody?
No. Actually, I was very, very upset. Now, did I celebrate a Syracuse moneyline ticket? Absolutely. But this was bittersweet and heavy on the heart because they have announced and they said that Miami has virtually no shot to make it. And it is very, very outside in. And that hurts my feelings because I would have loved one more opportunity to fade Cristobal in a spot. And,
you'll get a bowl game and everybody will transfer.
I hope the bowl doesn't mess up the mojo that's going on there. Kicking the field goal, down 21. Appreciate you for just doing whatever you can to make sure that we make a lot of money. And in a weekend where Texas let me down, that Miami always is there to lift me back up. And it's great. By the way, Ohio State, I have to say, really quick, really quick. This playoff, I love the 12-team playoff. But the fact that Ohio State can be rewarded with a bye week and then a home playoff game for losing to Michigan is absurd.
They're not getting a bye week. You're just talking about they don't have to play in the.
They don't have to play in the conference championship. That's a bye week. But they don't have to play.
But they don't get a bye week in the tourney.
No,
they're going to have to play again.
That's fine. They've got a week off to prepare for the first round of the playoffs. Like this is absolutely ridiculous that you can play that abysmal game and still lose. And Ryan Day, I know that he just sees the Grim Reaper standing at his door like, yep, they are sure getting me out of here as soon as this playoff run is done. We might have to try to win the Natty because I'm about to get fired.
Yeah, it's tough, but they do have two wins against teams ranked inside the top 12, so I think that's why they are getting that first round home playoff game there. We're also linking up today with our college football betting confidant, Scott Bogman. Boggs, how are you feeling midweek as the dust has settled a little bit?
I mean, I'm still feeling as good as I felt on Saturday, Seth. Beating A&M is excellent. Being able to gloat in Terrell's face is excellent as well. The SEC title game that A&M has had 13 years to get to and has not made it. And, the Longhorns get there.
And Texas didn't win?
They
didn't win, Boggs?
In year number one. They can win the SEC title game. We have the Sun Devils can win the Big 12 in their first year. SMU Mustangs can win the ACC in their first year. The Oregon Ducks can win it in their first year in the conference title game. So, yeah, lots of firsts here, which is going to be a lot of fun to discuss. But, I mean, come on. Getting a chance to not only win the SEC but also get a little payback on the one team that beat you, I think is all that Texas can ask for at this point. So I'm happy.
It's a great time.
Did you see that shade? He started off with Arizona State. You saw how he did that?
Hey, that's all right. I will say this, gentlemen. It is a great time to be a college football fan. It's a great time to cover this sport on this program every single week with you. There's so many different debates. Everyone on the internet is fired up and sending out their resumes. It's great. It's fun to see. I don't think there's ever been a higher interest in the sport. So we're thankful for everyone who watches and listens us talk about it every single week. If you are here on YouTube, please let us know who's your favorite bet for Week 15 in the conference championships. And while you're here, please like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you are new. And before we jump in, I did want to remind everybody about the Betting Pros Discord. Looking to up your game in sports betting? Well, then join our exclusive sports betting Discord community at bettingpros.com/chat. Not only can you connect with some expert handicappers who provide free picks for the NBA, the NFL, MLB, NHL, player props, live betting, and more, but now you can also participate in our weekly community picks. Cast your vote and see how your picks stack up against the experts and track your success today. The action starts on Friday in Jacksonville, Alabama, where the spread is tightened in the Conference USA Championship game. The Jacksonville State Gamecocks, they are now favored by just 3.5 over the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. WKU will be without the services of starting tight end River Helms. He was more of a blocking tight end than a big-time receiving option, though. Jacksonville State starting quarterback Tyler Huff will be a game-time decision. This dude is a dual threat weapon, rushing for nearly 1,200 yards and 13 touchdowns on the season. BP projections think this should be closer to a 2-point line, but are still not showing any expected value on the spread. However, we are seeing some value on the 57.5-point total going over. Where do you like in this game, Terrell? Where are you putting your money?
Yeah, I'm rolling with Rich Rod here. I think this is a really nice spot. Get up for them for Rich Rod. I think that they played it very, very vanilla in terms of that last game out, and they knew they were in the conference championship. Western Kentucky had everything to play for, and it still took, a last-second field goal for them to be able to get that done.
Sure.
I like Rich Rod to come in here and open up the offense a lot, and I think this is also Rich Rod setting a statement in that I think that he's on the short list for a couple of coaching opportunities coming up in the future, and this could be the nail in the coffin of, hey, let's go ahead and get Rich Rod out of here and put him back in Power 5. So I like Rich Rod to be able to get it done.
Okay. How do you feel about it, Boggs? I have heard from some of my friends who are West Virginia fans that they wouldn't mind bringing Rich Rod back down there to Morgantown. Your thoughts on this game in particular, though?
Yeah, I'm with Terrell. I think that, initially we thought that Tyler Huff was going to be out, but he's now a game-time decision. So there's a possibility they keep their starting quarterback. And like Terrell said, I think they're going to roll downhill. They're playing at home. They can open it up a little bit more because they were probably playing, just not showing their hand too much in that game because they had already locked their spot up. And I know money's flowing on the under, but WKU put up 426 yards. They just didn't put a lot of points up on the board last week. So I think both these teams will be able to move the ball. I do like the over, but my pick is going to be laying the points and taking Jacksonville State.
Let's go, Rich Rod.
Okay. We've had some major line movement in the AAC championship where the 24th ranked Army Black Knights, they've now moved to 6-point home dogs against the Tulane Green Wave. No injuries to report for either side, but it's going to be frosty up there in West Point, approximately 27 degrees on Friday night at kickoff. Could that spell trouble for a Tulane team based in New Orleans? Well, the BP projections, they do think that's the case, showing clear value on Army, indicating this should be closer to a 1-point line. Boggs, are you still thinking the same?
Yeah, I'm, I have not been on the Army or Navy side a lot this season, but in this
Un-American.
On this
un-American.
game, we're going to support the troops. I just can't get past the Tulane defense and what I saw Memphis, or the Tulane offense and what I saw Memphis do to them. Tulane rolled Navy, but again, Blake Horvath, the Navy quarterback, went down 15 snaps into that game. They're playing with a backup. This game is going to be won or lost by the Army offensive line. If Tulane buries them like Notre Dame did, this is going to be over quickly, and I'm going to be very wrong. But if they can push the line, they're going to be able to play in this game. And I do think that Tulane is going to be able to score on Army. They've scored on pretty much everybody here. Mm-hmm. And I'm not questioning that. But what I do question is, how is Tulane going to play in the cold? It's going to be 26.5 degrees at West Point at kickoff here. It's going to be a cold game. Army's going to get some momentum running the ball. And I think they're going to control the clock because of it. Both these teams play at a fairly slow pace. And Darian Mensah is he's still young. He's still inconsistent, which means we can get an insane game from him here where he leads Tulane to victory and it's not very close. Or we could see him make some mistakes that young men make. And especially in a weird environment, cold. I don't really like those boys from New Orleans heading up to, northern New York to face this game in the cold. So give me the Army. I'm supporting the troops. I'm American this week.
Terrell, how do you feel about it? I feel like the one thing going into Lane's favor is that this is familiar territory, right? Like they are in the AAC championship quite frequently as of late. Mm-hmm. So they are familiar with this type of setting. However, 6 points for Army, that's starting to look like a pretty good number.
Yeah, definitely. When I think Army is also going to control time and possession as well, with all the runs that they're going to be doing, I think that they're going to play smash mouth football. This is the atmosphere of football. The only people that are in the stands are Army lovers and football lovers because this is going to be cold hitting, very very physical game. And I don't know if Tulane is going to be able to step up to that challenge. And plus, Army kind of has a lot to play for. I'm not saying that they're gonna have they don't have a shot at the playoff, but if you sit there and you want to make the committee make a decision, go out here and look dominant in this game and let something happen in Boise or Boise in that Mountain West game. So yeah, I think that we'll talk about that one in a second. But I love Army in this spot. I think defensively that they're going to be really really good. They've looked really really solid against the pass for majority of the year, and this is where Army handles business and just slowly gets a nice ugly win here, and then it's on to those guys in Navy next week. So we'll be enjoying that one as well. They can throw the ball this year with Daly as well. I think Daly is going to be the key to the game. Him being able to complete passes and keep that triple option going. I love Army here. This is wrong team favorite. Army should be favored.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think it's going to be a close game. But if you're, I'm still seeing it at 4. I do see it at 5.5. In some books, I'm not seeing the 6 here.
ESPN bet is where the 6 is.
ESPN bet is at 6?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, if I can get 6, I'm going after that.
At home, I do not think that Tulane should be favored. I think this should be at least -2.5 Army.
Okay, well, maybe a couple win margin options or some teaser value there
Friday night
for
dog. Come on, Seth. Friday night dog.
Hey, I'll tell you this. I'm only I'm 3 hours away from West Point, so maybe even a little live stream reaction. Maybe we could get up there and bundle up. I think I'd have to make some really strong hot chocolate, put a little Kahlua in there to keep myself warm. But
you're gonna need
I'll
something
buy
more
it
than
for
that.
you.
Something stronger than that.
If you're going, I'll pay for a drink for you. For sure.
All right.
You got to keep the man warm.
Yeah, I didn't think I was trying to find a way to get invested on Friday night, and I've been looking all week. I think this is it. I have access to ESPN Bet. I got a little jingle in there, so I think this is where I'll go. I think I'll ride with you. A little Friday night dog for you, Terrell. I'm with the boys. Rounding out the Friday night slate, though, is the 10th ranked Boise State Broncos, who've settled as 4-point favorites against the 19th ranked UNLV Rebels. It's a clean bill of health for Barry Oden's Rebs and also the Broncos. It's also going to be cold in this game, just below freezing on the blue turf. Boise, they beat UNLV by 5 on the road earlier this season, and that's right where the BP projections think this line should be. So we are seeing some slight value on Boise and massive value on the over. Will you be backing either of these plays, Terrell, or are you going a different direction?
Oh, I mean, as much as I would love chaos and Boise to lose this game, and they really have to make a decision about Army if Army were to win out and win against Navy, and really, really have to make a decision about if they were going to move Army up into the playoff as, the highest rated conference, non-Power 5 conference champion. Yeah. I can't do it. Boise doesn't lose at home, man. Like, how many times have they lost here at home in, the past decade? Like, they're a really, really tough team at home. You got this UNLV squad coming from their nice, comfy dome into this Boise ugly weather. And I think Ashton Jeanty has a point to prove in this game particularly because UNLV was one of the only teams that was really able to slow him down this season. And I think he's like, no, I deserve to be Heisman. Looking at these numbers, I understand that Travis Hunter plays 2 positions and he plays them pretty well. But I think Ashton Jeanty says, I deserve to be Heisman, and this is a huge Ashton Jeanty game in the cold, bringing that dome team outside. I think Malik Williams is going to struggle throwing the ball a little bit here. I like Boise to go ahead and get it done again. I'm laying the 4.
Boggs, do you like the Broncos as well?
Yeah, I mean, I do think this game is going to come down to the Boise State quarterback, Maddox Madsen. And UNLV held Jeanty to a season-low 3.9 yards per carry.
He was nicked up in that game.
He was nicked up in that game, but to Terrell's point, like, he wants to prove a point as well. But for Maddox Madsen, he was only 18 for 33, 209 yards and a touchdown, but he ran for 49, he ran for a touchdown, and he didn't take a sack or have a turnover. He won't have to throw for 350 yards in this game, but he's going to have to continue this no turnovers trend and probably play a little bit better on 3rd and 15. Malik Williams was great on the ground, but only 12 of 21 in that game, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns. He took 6 sacks. I think that's the big difference, is the fact that Malik Williams is probably more likely to take a sack, and JT's not going to play as bad as he did in the first game. Maddox Madsen had a great first game. They're at home. They're playing in the cold. Boise State held the ball for 34 minutes and only converted 3 third-down conversions, and they still won by 5 in that last game. I don't think Boise State plays that poorly again. I think they play a better game, and I think they win this one. So I don't like that. Terrell and I are on the same side for the first 3 games here.
Let's
but
do it.
It's
we're
weird.
rocking. Let's go.
This is weird. Something feels off, but I'm sure it'll flip when we get to the Saturday slate. But before we get there, I did want to remind everyone to join our college football podcast group. You can sync your picks or use the quick pick feature on the BettingPros sports betting app to get a chance to win some free prizes. Elevate your betting strategy and join the conversation today at bettingpros.com/college. Let's get to Saturday and the MAC championship kicking off at Ford Field in the great city of Detroit between the Ohio Bobcats and the Miami, Ohio Redhawks. Ohio is now a 2.5-point dog at some shops and down all the way to 1.5 at other sports books. I've been dancing with them all week. I've been trying to get that 3-point line we saw earlier on the Bobcats. I saw it again last night, and then I got greedy and I said, okay, well, maybe if it's at 3, I can get the 3.5, get the hook. Well, now we're back to 2.5. Ohio, they have questionable tags to starting nose tackle CJ Doggett and cornerback Tony Mathis. The only known injury for Miami is Tony with an E. Coleman, who remains questionable. BP projections, they do show that this should be closer to a 1.5-point line, and I do too. Ohio's dual threat quarterback, Parker Navarro, they have great running backs as well. Anthony Tyus III, Ricky Hunt. They are really the engine of this team. They all average over 5 yards per carry. Miami's worst element of their defense is stopping the run. Boggs, have you changed your mind? Are you coming with me and the Bobcats?
No, I'm not. I'm going to stick with Miami. I'm taking the Redhawks. These teams are evenly matched, but Miami, in my opinion, just matches up a little bit better. They pass at a 56.9% clip, and while Ohio has been strong on defense, they're definitely better against the run than they are the pass. Statistically, Gabbert was only 14 for 21 for 178 yards in the first game, but he had 3 passing touchdowns. Parker Navarro for Ohio has been much better since that game, but he was so bad in that one that he got benched. So Ohio State had only 110 yards in the first. Ohio had only 110 yards rushing in the first matchup, even lower than their total against Kentucky. That was their lowest total of the season. A lot has changed from that matchup, and I don't know really what to expect here in this game. I do think it can go a bunch of different ways, but my gut tells me to stick with Miami and lay the points, and that's what I'm going to do.
Terrell, can I get one for the Bobcats?
Absolutely. I'm so glad to disagree here. I'm on the Bobcats with Ohio here. This game is now in Ford Field, so now we get them in a neutral site. I think that's going to fare a little bit better for Ohio, and especially ever since that game, Parker Navarro has looked better. Like, he's looked a lot better, and that benching was really the thing to help boost this Ohio team back up. And I think that, the defense plays a pretty good game. They had a really good outing on the road against Toledo that I think that they came out of that one 21-7, and I think the defense looked really solid. And if we can see that defense here with Parker Navarro being able to attack them on the ground, like not just focusing over through the air, but just commitment to the ground game, even if it doesn't work in the beginning, but just, hey, making this a ground and pound game, we're going to run the football, and we know we can take advantage of a bad run defense. I think that the Ohio Bobcats run all over and get it done. I'm taking them plus the points. There's a reason why this isn't 3.
Okay. Staying in the noon slate, the Big 12 championship will be hosted in Jerry World. The 12th ranked Arizona State Sun Devils, they've moved down to 2-point favorites, minus 125 on the money line against the 16th ranked Iowa State Cyclones. That line movement likely came after ASU's stud, a 1,100-yard wide receiver Jordan Tyson was rolled out of this contest. Backup wide receiver Jake Smith also questionable to play. Iowa State, though, equally banged up. Their starting tight end, Ben Brahmer, he is practicing this week, but he's questionable. Their starting safety, Malik Verdon, same deal. He's practicing, remains questionable. But their starting linebacker, Cale Brzezina, is questionable. They've had issues at that position all season long. He's been a bright spot. We don't know if he'll play after missing last week's contest. BP projections show EV on the Cyclones and the over. However, I am trusting Cam Scatabo and this entire ASU offense. I think they are maybe one of the most underrated offenses in the country, and I think they're going to shoulder the load. Forget the points. I've got Arizona State on the money line, -125. Terrell, are you coming with me, or are you going with one last ride with Rocco Becht and the boys?
Come on, man. What kind of question is this? Of course I'm riding with Rocco Becht and the boys. They can play defense in the run game. They can stop the run game. Scatabo is not going to run up and down the field here, and they're going to turn Sam Levitt into a passer. And I think that missing their star wide receiver is really, really going to hurt them. Like, this is the type of game, the championship game, when you need a big play on third down. You're at third and goal, and you're at the 10-yard line, and you're trying to get into the end zone. Those are the plays that you need your star wideout, and not having one and maybe not two, I think that's really, really going to hurt them. I think Matt Campbell's going to dial up a really, really nasty defense, and Rocco Becht's going to be able to do enough on this Arizona State team. I'm sticking with him. Rocco Becht's going to the playoff.
Boggs?
That is blind faith, and I think it's going to lead you over a cliff before it leads you to the playoffs here, Terrell. Look, I like Iowa State. I think Matt Campbell is one of the better coaches in the country, but they have been finding ways to grab wins when they shouldn't. We went over it on Monday. They haven't had a post game win expectancy over 50% since week 7. They have been supposed to lose even that game where they beat Cincy by 17. They had a 38% post-game win expectancy. So I think Iowa State has been playing smoke and mirrors for too long, and the run D is particularly why I'm going with Jordan Tyson out. The line needed to slip. Jordan Tyson, I think, makes this game a walk for Arizona State. But without him, it will be tougher. Iowa State is 96th statistically against the run. They're 119th in PFF's run grade. They're 120th in tackle grade. If you can't tackle Cam Scatabo and you can't stop this run game, you will not get the ball. You will not control the clock. And Rocco Becht, your boy, he's a good quarterback, but he's been playing terribly recently. 33 for 73 over his last 2 games, and 6 of his 18 turnover-worthy plays have been in those games as well. ASU has 14 picks. They're 16th in the country. They're 11th in turnover margin. Iowa State's pretty high up there as well. They're 17th. But for this game, I'm sticking with the Sun Devils. So we get to Saturday, and the rails have come off, Terrell. We're back to be on opposite ends here. I like it. This feels better.
I love it. It was just the Friday magic. Because, hey, this team locked up DJ Giddens last week, and that's what I need to see. They are bought into stopping the run game. They're not letting Scatabo kill them. Levitt, you have to beat us. Levitt has to beat us.
K-State had a 95% post-game win expectancy. They made too many
mistakes. And they lost. You know what? I hope that Iowa State has a 0% win expectancy at the end of the game, because that means they still won the game, because it doesn't matter about win expectancy when you still win. Let's go. Rocco Becht. You can't fade QB's name, Rocco Becht.
Magic is over.
Terrell, then will you be putting more of your unit allocation on the spread, or are you just going to be taking the +110 money line?
Oh, no, I'm going to the money line. We're going to the playoffs, baby.
Okay.
We are going to the playoffs.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and let's disagree more in the SEC championship game. It's getting underway at 4 Eastern time on Saturday afternoon from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The second-ranked Texas Longhorns, they remain a 2.5-point favorite over the 5th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia, they are dealing with injuries, specifically in their backfield. Running backs Trevor Etienne and Branson Robinson, they remain questionable, as is defensive tackle Kristen Miller and left guard Micah Morris. The Longhorns are currently monitoring the status of their star left tackle, Kelvin Banks, a projected top 10 pick in the NFL draft. BP projections don't show much value on the spread, but they do like the over. I'm sitting this one out, Bogman. I'm going to enjoy this one from the sideline. Do you have a play here in the SEC championship game?
I do, and it's going to continue to be the under in this game. And it's because the Texas defense is playing lights out. The Texas offense isn't. And I think Georgia has had a tough time putting up some points, and they've been giving up some rush yards. So I do think Texas can control the ball and the clock. I don't know how often they're going to punch it in for touchdowns, though, because they haven't been able to. So for me, I'm going to continue to lean on this. And I've heard, just for the side, I've heard it every single way this week. I've heard how, nothing has changed. Georgia out-schemed Texas. We're going to see a lot of the same. I heard, ETN, it was huge in that game, and he's hurt, so we're going to see Texas win. Let's stick to how are they playing now? Right now, Georgia almost lost to Georgia Tech. They gave up 563 yards. They let Georgia Tech hold the ball for 37 minutes and 11 seconds of the first 60 before overtime in that game. They didn't have a lot to play for. They already had an SEC title game, locked up, but they were at home against a rival. You shouldn't have to have inspiration play that game. Texas didn't let Texas A&M score on offense, but the Longhorns only put up 17 points themselves. They turned the ball over twice. So just because both of these defenses play better than the offenses, I like the under in this game.
Okay, Terrell, how do you feel about this? Carson Beck, quarterback for Georgia, he's taking shrapnel on the internet this week. There's a clip that got cut saying that he doesn't watch football. That made its rounds. Some pervious Snapchats also kind of leaking out there on the internet right now as well. So
I didn't see any of that stuff.
Yeah, amid controversy, Terrell, are you rolling with Carson Beck and the boys?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is. I think that this game has so many different layers to it. And as I look at the game scripts, it's just ultimately which quarterback do I trust to be able to come back in this game? Because I don't think the game is over no matter who gets out early. However this game starts in the first half is not how this game probably going to end in the second half, and that's just kind of how these teams have been all year. But I just don't trust Quinn Ewers to battle back in this game if he faces some adversity. We saw two interceptions in the beginning of the game last time, and Carson Beck was able to help settle down, and they were able to run the football. They were able to get a win. I think here with Quinn Ewers, I just have too many more questions about him and this offense be able to continue going. They're going to have to be able to run the ball. And if they can't run the ball on the Georgia front, I really don't think it's going to look good for them. And, yeah, I love the under, Boggs. I think that's probably my favorite play in the game. But, of course, I'm picking Georgia to go against you. Like, that's just amazing.
Well, of course, I picked Texas. And I would also I would rebut with if Quinn Ewers looks bad early, they're just going to go to Arch.
Just go Arch?
Right.
And now it gets interesting. If you tell me that we're going Arch in the beginning, it might get a little bit interesting. Because he's just a wild card. Like, you don't know. You saw the touchdown? Like, Arch is a wild card.
It was awesome. Yeah, that was one of the best touchdowns.
It was great. It was great. I'm not going to lie to you.
Boggs, unlike Penn State, like Penn State's losing a lot this year. You have a long runway with Texas, my friend. So I'm sure for many, many more years we'll be on this program.
Yes, Georgia and Texas. These are the number 1, number 2 recruiting classes right now too.
Yeah.
So this game means a lot for recruiting. It means a lot for the SEC title and for a playoff bye. There is a lot on the line in this game, and we can't say emotional letdown for either team because. Georgia came back and won in 8 overtimes, and Texas beat A&M, so they're both on that type of a tilt as well.
And both teams do have the security in knowing that you lose this game, you're still in the playoff.
Yep,
for sure.
So Boggs, he is going to be on Texas if he had to pick a side. It seems like Terrell is on Georgia, and then both of them are liking that under as their favorite play in the SEC championship game. Before we continue, I did want to tell y'all about Fast Break Bets. If y'all like betting on basketball, well then join her host Terrell Furman Jr. on the Fast Break Bets podcast. It is your daily dose of basketball betting in 15 minutes or less. Tune in every single day for your rapid fire fix of all things basketball, from the NBA to the WNBA to college basketball and more. It's available here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Let's open up the primetime slate in Lafayette, Louisiana, where the Raging Cajuns have moved to 6-point favorites against the Marshall Thunder and Herd in the Sun Belt Championship game. The line movement in this one is surprising to say the least, given that Louisiana lost their starting quarterback, Ben Woolridge, a few weeks ago. Trying to find some type of edge, I did look at the common opponents, and Marshall actually has a better winning margin out of 3 of the 4 Sun Belt teams they have both faced. I'm going with the gritty boys from up there in West Virginia. Herd +6. Terrell, are you riding with me in this matchup?
Yes, and let me tell you why. It has nothing to do with on the field. let me take you to Twitter and let me tell you a story about their coach. Coach Huff has not been issued a contract for next year. He has not been given an extension. He is up and due. Like, this is right now his last season. They have not offered him a contract. He says how much he wants to stay the coach of Marshall, but they have not given him a contract. The players are on the side of Coach Huff in this situation. You have linebacker Monroe Beard, who's tweeted out, and I quote, "Stop playing with Coach Huff. We love him, and we don't listen to the outside noise. Marshall versus everybody." I don't know how I'm supposed to fade this locker room that's about to go run through a brick wall for Coach Huff and potentially his last game. He's already been tied to Southern Miss and their head coaching opportunity coming up, and it seems like he's going to be moving on. I think he's going to get one more win and just like, all right, here you go, Marshall. Here's the play. And that's possibly what people are fading. And they're saying, hey, let's put money on Louisiana. They got all this going on. I think the players are getting up for this. I don't know why this continues to go towards Louisiana. I think this is a Marshall spot all day.
We are Marshall, baby. +6. Let's go. Boggs, 3 for 3 with the Marshall guys.
I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry, I can't. But look, it is no disrespect to Marshall. I love that they are behind Charlie Huff. And Huff is so fun. I mean, remember him in the Ohio State press conference saying, talking about the biscuits. Like he brought all the biscuits for the Ohio State players, right? Like, I love Charles Huff.
Coach Huff.
He's a lot of fun to watch, but I just think this Louisiana team is one of the best G5 teams in the country. They have a well-fought loss to Tulane, and the only other loss that they had this season was to South Alabama when Wooldridge got hurt and they had to go to Chandler Field. So I just think this Louisiana team is very, very, very strong. The loss was when Wooldridge got hurt, obviously, to South Alabama, but Marshall is statistically middling. They grade well, but they're 70th in explosive plays allowed, 82nd in plays of 10-plus yards allowed. Louisiana is 20th in the country in 10-plus yard plays, 15th in explosives of 20 or more yards. I think that is going to be the difference in this game. I think a couple explosive plays on offense for Louisiana seal this game for them. So, in BP, we're showing value on the Cajuns as well, so I'm going to roll with them.
Boggs, are you rolling right on the spread? -205 on the money line, so you probably have to parlay that with something to get that down.
I'll lay the points. I'll lay the points without
6
much
points
issue.
a lot for a conference championship game, my friend.
It is, but I think that Louisiana is one of the better G5 schools in the country, and I think they show it in this game.
Okay. The game with maybe the most college football playoff implications is the ACC championship happening in Charlotte, North Carolina. The 8th-ranked SMU Mustangs, they remain a 2.5-point favorite over the 18th-ranked Clemson Tigers. This is a win-or-go-home game for Clemson. The status of wide receiver Tyler Brown is up in the air, but it pretty much is every single week. I think we've said his name every time we've ever talked about Clemson this season. SMU could possibly still be in line for an at-large bid if they lose, but they should be at full health for this game. The BP projections.
They better.
Yeah.
I mean, no, that goes into this. I mean, the fact that we literally are going to be having a conversation. If Dabo somehow pulls this out of his behind and gets a win, I don't think he is. Just go ahead and chop me up for SMU -2.5, Seth.
Okay.
I don't think he gets over it. I'm tired of this transfer portal stuff, all of that. SMU -2.5. Now, what I really want to talk about with my time, there is no reason that if SMU were to lose this game, that they should not make the playoff. And if they put in a 3-loss Alabama that lost to Oklahoma. I told you we were going to bring this back. Lost to Oklahoma.
Ain't no love in Oklahoma, baby.
It wasn't even close. It wasn't close at all. There is no reason SMU should not make the playoff. If they do not put SMU in, I almost want Clemson to win just so they have to make the decision so I can see where they stand. Because this is ridiculous. The fact that it's even a conversation.
You don't want that because you know where they stand.
No, they shouldn't do it. They should not do it at all. That would be horrible. That would be a terrible. SMU ran through the ACC. They ran through the ACC.
They pushed Florida State out last year. They don't like the ACC. They like the SEC. The SEC has the money. So look, I don't. you're not going to have to debate this anyway. SMU is going to win the game, I think. And I think where we see the difference in this game, Seth, is on the offensive line for Clemson, just like we saw it last week, against South Carolina. They had a valiant effort, and Klubnik is a good quarterback, much better. He's much better than I initially gave him credit for, and Clemson is much better than I gave them credit for going into that South Carolina game. They are a good team. They do deserve to be here, even though they backed in. They deserve to be here over Miami. Miami played too many close games. They just did not deserve to get in, especially after that loss to Syracuse. So Clemson is where they belong. They belong in the ACC title game. They are one of the two best teams here. I just don't think they're even close to SMU. I think SMU beats them up on both sides of the offensive and defensive line. I think Klubnik faces too much pressure in this game to get the ball out. I think Smith has been running the ball well for the Mustangs, and I think they keep that trend. So for me, I'm going to lay the points and take the ponies.
How do you guys feel about the over 56-point total? That is the BP projections' favorite line of the entire weekend. Is there any value there in your eyes, or do you think maybe this one does get muddied up?
So for me, I think if Clemson is in this game, it goes way over, and this looks like a Miami game. You know what I mean? Where if Clemson is able to move the ball, I just don't know if they're going to be able to. So they only put up 14 points against South Carolina last week. I don't know that SMU's defense is as complete as South Carolina's, especially in the secondary, but that line is really good. So I question what Klubnik's going to be able to do because they throw the ball at a high, I think it's 56.9% clip. So it's a very, very high clip that they're passing the ball at in Clemson. So if it is a mismatch between the SMU offensive line and the Clemson defensive line or offensive line, I don't know how Clemson's going to be able to score points. So that's what worries me in this game. So I wouldn't really mess with the total.
Okay, let's go ahead. Let's round out the program with the Big Ten Championship going down in Lucas Oil Stadium. No line movement in this game either. The top-ranked Oregon Ducks, they remain a 3.5-point favorite against the third-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Oregon, their only major injury as of late is defensive tackle Keon Ware-Hudson, who didn't play last week against the Huskies. Penn State, meanwhile, their top wide receiver, Trey Wallace, he is questionable, as is their right tackle, Anthony Donka, who they are both questionable after missing last week's game against Maryland. BP still ever so slightly is leaning at Penn State for the 3.5. Terrell, are you backing Nittany Lion Nation and riding with all the fine people in the Valley?
I mean, it's more of a question for you as a fan. I mean, do you feel good about James Franklin going into yet another big game?
I'd feel better if Trey Wallace was on the field, I'll tell you that much, because he is that one explosive play through the air that we have other than Tyler Warren.
Yeah, man. I really, really, really want to get down on Penn State here, not just because everybody and their mother is on Oregon, but of the fact of, like, that defense, I just know that they can rattle Dylan Gabriel. We've seen it multiple times over the course of the season where I'm like, oh, man, Gabriel just doesn't
He struggles
look like
under
that guy.
pressure. He struggles under pressure. We saw it in Wisconsin.
He doesn't look like that guy. He throws red zone interceptions. You can't do that against Penn State. If you move the ball against Penn State and get into the red zone, you have to put points on the board. And so that's what I'm also concerned about, the horrible interceptions and the timing of the interceptions. But, oh, my gosh, we've been down this road with James Franklin before this season. I don't know if I'm ready to go through it again. Oh, man, this is really, really tempting. But I'm going to stick with it. I think the defense is enough to keep them in the game. Maybe this is a heartbreaker loss, but they still covered a 3.5. I'll take it because I get the hook. Give me Penn State.
Okay. Boggs, we got Abdul Carter. We got Denai Dennis Sutton on that defensive line. I will send you guys a shotgun video. I'll shotgun an Iron City beer straight from the Pennsylvania waters.
Wow.
And I will send that in the chat on Saturday night if we win this game. Are you coming with us, Bogman? You coming with us? You riding with the Nittany Lions?
I am, but I'll say this because
I cannot believe all three
Seth.
of us are on Penn State in a big game.
The cash is heavy on Oregon. Heavy. I want.
So you think we can wait?
I want 4.5. I want it to open up a little bit more, and I do think we can wait because all of it is coming in on Oregon right now. I think Vegas needs to balance this out a little bit. So I do think we're going to see this number start to open up a little bit, and that's when I want to take the Nittany Lions. Because, look, this game is going to come down to who makes the big mistake. right? I think that is really
that's
what it's
usually Penn State.
It usually is Penn State, but
Lara's pretty
look,
bad.
the offensive line for these teams are in for a big test, both offensive lines, because for Oregon you have Hammond and Birch and Ilungalehi and Bassa and they have depth on this line too, and then you have Abdul Carter for Penn State. You have Zane Durant, who's an NFL prospect. You have Danny Dennis Sutton, who is an NFL draft prospect, right? Like, there's so much talent on these defensive lines, but both these quarterbacks have a turnover-worthy play rate of less than 1.5%. They're two of the best. They don't turn the ball over. So the big mistake, I feel like, is going to be the difference in this game. And if a game is this tight and it's at a neutral site, give me points for whoever is getting points. If Oregon was getting points here, I'd want Oregon. But because it's Penn State, I'll take the Nittany Lions, and I'll take the points here. I think the over is pretty decent as well in this game because these teams don't turn over the ball, right? And now, while they both get to the quarterback, they're both top 20 in sacks allowed as well. Only 11 on the season for Penn State and only 12 on the season for Oregon. So that line matchup is the difference. I think they're less likely to get to each other. I think it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth scoring game. So I like the over, but I'll take the points. Give me the Nittany Lions and give me the points. Wait as long as you can and get it. I would much rather have it at 4.5 than 3.5, but I would wait, and I will take the points in this game.
Wow, I'm actually on the opposite side of that one. I like the under. I think that this is a game where they actually do force the turnovers, and it's because the defenses prize it out of their cold, dead hands and says, hey, no, we're taking this football and we're giving our offense another chance at it, because they know both of the offenses aren't going to be as consistent. And I agree with you. Whoever makes the worst turnover is going to be probably the loser in this game.
There's probably more outs to the under as well, because, maybe these teams play a little tight to start, the feeling out process, all of that in this game in a neutral environment and all that stuff. But I don't care. I think who has the guts goes the glory. And if you're Penn State, air it out, baby. I mean, throw that ball, because you got a chance to be the number 1 seed. You did not have this chance. You didn't think you were going to get to this spot last week. So now that you're in it, YOLO. Go for it. Let's roll. Let's have some trick plays. Let's have some deep shots early, and really go for it. Put the pressure on Oregon to do it, and that way, if you're scoring on Oregon, now you can pin your ears back and get after Dylan Gabriel. So I think they're going to take some big shots early in this game. So give me Penn State. Give me the over.
All right, we all like Penn State. We are preaching a little bit of patience, though. Let's see what happens with Trey Wallace. Is he going to be up for this game? And maybe we will see some line movement, get a better number on the Nittany Lions. Great discussions overall today, guys. I cannot wait for this slate of football. It's going to be college at its absolute peak this weekend. Thank you to everyone so much for watching. That's going to do it for us today on the BettingPros College Football Show. Boggs, he will be back later in the week with some best bets and his player props. And until then, like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the BettingPros YouTube channel and podcast feed, plus download the BettingPros app and sync your sportsbooks today. For Terrell Furman Jr. and Scott Bogman, I'm Seth Woolcock. Take care, y'all.
Hook 'em.